When we face temptation, especially when trials are intense, I know it is easy to ask, why did God let this happen? Is He setting me up to fail? The book of James answers this question directly and emphatically in chapter 1, verses 13 to 15. We must understand the difference between testing and temptation to sin. God is not the source of temptation. So in James chapter 1 verse 13, he says, "Let no one say when he is tempted, I am tempted by God, for God cannot be tempted with evil, and he himself tempts no one." So, testing versus tempting. In James chapter 1 verse 2, we were told to count it all when you meet various trials. This is a test of faith, a refinement, like gold in a fire. God allows these trials to strengthen us. However, in James chapter 1 verse 13, temptation to sin is used in a different context. So we must distinguish the source. God's nature. First, God is absolutely holy. He cannot be tempted with evil. He is pure. And he himself tempts no one. He does not lure us to evil or lead us into evil. So blaming God is an attempt to shift responsibility. But the Bible says God's intent is always good, even in trials. Now, the true source of temptation. This is in James chapter 1 verse 14. So let's look at it. But each person is tempted when he is lured and enticed by his own desire. So the internal enemy here, the real source is not outside of us, but within us, our own desires, often translated as lust or evil desires. Now, James uses imagery of a hunter or fisherman. We are lured and enticed. The desire within us is the bait. The world, all the schemes of the devil, provides the hook or opportunity. We are dragged away by our own internal inclination towards sin. Yeah. Example. Hunger is a natural desire. Stealing food is sin. That's temptation. The lure is to satisfy the good hunger in a wrong, sinful way. The desire is ours. You get that? Hunger is a natural desire. But stealing food to satisfy something that's natural, that is sinful. Now, the personal responsibility of every individual. This verse places the responsibility squarely on us. We cannot blame our circumstances, no, or other people. And most of all, we can't blame God. Temptation is the moment our internal evil desire meets an external opportunity. Did you get that? Temptation is the moment our internal evil desire meets an external opportunity. Now, the sin cycle and the result. James chapter 1 verse 15. Then desire, when it has conceived, gives birth to sin. And sin, when it is fully grown, brings forth death. Yeah? James uses an analogy of conception and birth. 1. Desire conceives. This is when the lure or the temptation is accepted in the heart, moving from a passing thought to a willful intention. 2. Gives birth to sin. This is the resulting sinful action. And 3. Sin brings forth death. Sin's final natural consequence is death. Yeah? Spiritual separation from God, and ultimately eternal separation. Now, the good news is that temptation itself is not sin. We are only guilty when our desires conceives, when we choose to act on the enticement. This means we have a moment to choose the way of escape. 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 13. Now, overcoming temptation. Let us recap here. God does not tempt us to evil or with evil. Temptation comes from our own internal desires. Yielding to it leads to death. The way out of this: if the temptation is from us, then the solution is a change of will. We must actively, 1, stop blaming God. Accept personal responsibility for the desires in our heart. And 2, resist. Draw near to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. James chapter 4, verse 7 and 8. Acknowledge the source of strength. Turn to Christ, who was tempted in every way, yet was without sin. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 15. In him we find the strength to choose the path of life over the path of death. Now, temptation is a choice point, meaning a crossroad. Will you blame God, or will you choose Christ and find the power to overcome the desire within? A simple question. Now, I must say this before I go again, that we cannot blame our circumstances or other people, and most of all, we can't blame God. Temptation is the moment our internal evil desire meets an external opportunity. And I've used an example before that, listen, hunger is a natural desire of the stomach, but stealing food to satisfy that hunger is sinful.